Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unscripted Gaming. My name is Mike.
And my name is Ray.
Hello, Ray. How are you today?
Very well, actually.
Excellent. That's what we love to hear. We love to hear that Ray is well.
How about yourself?
And I am also well. If you wouldn't believe it, folks, we are well here today in the Mike household. Josh is busy.
Mm-hmm.
He's not here, and he'll be back on his own time. So don't rush. I know you're like, oh, I hate it when it's a Mike and Ray. Shut up.
Is that a thing?
It better not be. And if it is, I'm openly antagonistic to you, and you should unsubscribe from our podcast. Leave us a 1-star review so I can find you and block you.
I don't think you could track 1-star reviews, sir.
I will find a way.
Oh my goodness.
That's probably a good thing that they can't do that, but I will find it. I will be the first.
Probably for that exact reason is why.
I will be the first to do this.
Oh my goodness.
That is my guarantee to you.
All right, so
video games.
Yeah, let's talk about video games.
Video games, they're here.
I don't know if I talked about this because the last time we did the podcast, we did the Halloween episode, the spooky episode.
Very spooky SCP episode. Again, we had a hoot doing that, so honestly going to say we shouldn't wait a year to do the next one, if you ask me.
I'd be excited to do another.
I'm just saying.
That's an idea. So remember how a couple podcasts ago I was talking about the difficulty I was having of getting like a PS5.
Mm-hmm.
So the I did what Mike said, and I went basically insane. Is the best way to put it. And I subscribed to several Twitter alerts. Like PS5 stock deals and Wario 64, which was successful. I was able to secure a PS5 from GameStop, paying retail price.
Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Congrats.
I got it. I made sure I took the day off work.
We got him.
We got him.
We got him.
The first game I played and really enjoyed was Final Fantasy VII Intermission, which you pay $20 for if you already had Final Fantasy VII Remake on your PS4. There's a whole transfer process. It's confusing. Follow an online guide. Don't try to do it yourself. You will fuck up. There's no other.
I tried to do it myself. Did not figure it out, and then just totally skipped it. And I was like, I'm just not going to do this. So I need to go back and play the Yuffie stuff still.
It is short. You can beat it in like 4 to 6 hours. 4 hours if you really know what you're doing. 6 hours if you're being very casual and you do all the side quests.
Got it. 10 hours. Okay.
Probably, yeah. So the side quests are really cool. They have a very cool Fort Condor side quest that I really loved. And the game itself is really fun. You play as Yuffie, and it's hard. It's actually like it pretends that you've the difficulty is scaled in that you've already beaten Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it treats you like, yeah, you probably already know what you're doing, so we're not going to hold your hand throughout most portions. We'll explain to you a couple new mechanics, but that's it. That's all you're getting. And
it's really pretty looking too.
Oh gosh.
It looks real nice.
I'm already going to spoil it. This is my game of the year, or at least one of my games of the year, just because it sets a bar for how good looking and how fluid a game can move on new hardware. It sets a bar that's almost unfair for other video games to try to match, because I can't think of any other game that like looks this good. It ramps it up to 60 frames a second. It's now running at 60 frames a second at 4K. It looks phenomenal. It plays phenomenal.
It's gorgeous.
And it's very anime.
Yeah.
Very Naruto.
It's great. Great time.
Highly recommend that you get that set up.
The cool part about the PS5 is that it plays stuff that looks really pretty. And you put that thing in, and you're like, dang, that's pretty.
Yes.
And then you watch movie and go, dang, that pretty. I think I said this before, but like, I was not you kind of don't know what you're missing with the 4K UHD stuff until you get it, and then you're like, oh, wow, ooh, that looks, ooh, daddy likey, ooh.
It is a heavy investment. You need a 4K TV, you need a 4K Blu-ray player, or at least a 4K Netflix subscription, or you have to buy the 4K version of a movie. And you need the HDMI cable that supports up to a 4K connection. You can't cheap out and get a piece of shit HDMI cable from like, I don't know, Monoprice or whatever the hell. You got to actually have some quality stuff.
Yeah, the monster cable is like, oh, look who comes crawling back.
It's true. I did. I used my old monster cables I've had for years, and I'm like, there it is. Finally getting some use out of this thing.
Oh, look who comes! Like you're crawling through the door to like beg Mr. Burns for your job, but it's, please, monster cable, please. I need you to handle the bandwidth of the 4K and also the UHD, please. I beg you.
And it's like, I knew you'd be back. Here we are. We're doing the thing we promised. And yeah, if you can afford it, it looks great. Movies look great. But beyond that, I also got what was the other PS4 game I played? Oh, I actually played through the first bombing mission of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Just that one in 4K and 60 frames. I'm not saying it makes me want to replay the entire game. I'm not saying it doesn't though. It damn good looking game.
It's nice. It's really good.
What games have you been playing, sir? I got a couple more, but I want to hear yours.
Speaking of 4K, well, PS4 games on the PS5, I've just started Ghost of Tsushima.
It's a great game.
The samurai game. The game where what got you're the samurai.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty. It's pretty looking.
Uh-oh.
But I don't know, man. I mean, the combat's like, okay, yeah, it's the Batman thing.
Mm-hmm.
You do counter when enemy attack you one at a time. But I see this map. It just explodes and it's humongous.
You really think it's that big?
Like, these story missions are just, maybe none of these characters have really grabbed me so far. So I don't know.
I gotta ask you, how far are you in it?
I'm probably about like 6 hours in, I think.
Okay.
So right now I'm kind of like recruiting people to help save my uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, Jin fucking loves his uncle, dude.
Yes.
Like, I'm not saying I don't like my uncles. I'm just saying Jin likes his uncle a lot. And I just think that's funny. It's not really that funny, but it's just like, dang, this guy really likes his uncle.
So
I mean, he's like a grown man. He's like, I must save my uncle. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I know, but like,
I beat this game last year, and
I don't know.
I want to know what it is about this game that you both are loving and hating so far. Because, spoiler alert, and I mentioned this before, I really liked Ghost of Tsushima a lot.
I think that's the weird thing. Is like, I don't think there's like, I think it's just I think the one thing that really kind of is hindering my desire to go further. I'm gonna probably keep chipping away at it just because I've got the time. It's just some of the mission design. Like like some of the kind of open world side quest mission design is just like, I don't know. It's just kind of rote. I don't think anything it's saying is particularly interesting so far. So I'm sure it might pick up at some point, and maybe I should just bulldoze through the main plot to kind of get more abilities and then maybe do some of that side stuff. But I think it's more of just like I just don't know if I can do open world games anymore. Like, I think this is the kind of game that, maybe my first summer home from college and I was like working a part-time job
Mm-hmm.
and not really doing much else, that if I had that kind of time to like just throw on a podcast while I did side quests for this, this game would be like, this is like, would have been the game I've been waiting for all my entire life. But my tastes are just not there anymore. And it's just, I don't know.
I know. I know you're saying
score TBD on Ghost of Tsushima for me.
I know you're saying like, man, I don't know if I want to do open world games anymore. But then you saw the trailer for Elden Ring, and you're like, I don't know. I guess I'm back in.
Just when I thought it was out, pull me back in.
We saw the trailer for Elden Ring. This is also PS5.
Yeah, that's the other game I played. The trailer for Elden Ring. The gameplay trailer for Elden Ring. That's the other game I played. There's one more actually, but we should talk about the Elden Ring trailer.
The technical
looks
test
incredibly
went live.
sick.
Yeah. That game also looks anime as fuck in like the best of ways. There was an attack that one of the characters did where they charged up a two-handed sword, and as they were charging up and the sword was glowing blue, 3 ghosts materialized and like hammered down, like helm struck an enemy, and then the character brought down their two-handed sword. I'm like, that's it, I'm in. I want whatever
Great
thing
little
they just
fake out
did.
thing. Like, it's really cool because it kind of seems like they looked at an open world game a la Breath of the Wild, and was like, hey, what if this had a little bit of Dark Souls in it? And it kind of just seems like that's what they made, and that sounds tight as fuck.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna be there.
I
You
can't.
better believe it, folks.
I can't wait. I can't. I have my. I don't pre-order games, but I will make an exception for anything from Software because From Software needs to know I support every product that they make.
Yeah.
As long as it's not published by Activision, they know what they did.
We should probably talk about that in the news segment, I guess.
We will.
We'll just give our Activision Crater update.
Man,
It's still smoldering.
Activision's still not a great company. Before you get to the other game that I know you're itching to talk about, I know you really want to talk about this, but before that, I want to mention a game that I have been playing on the side.
Yes.
It's an indie game. You could buy it on Steam. It's been around on Steam for a while. They did a console release in the last couple of years for PS4 and Switch, and I'm playing the Switch version. It's called Project Nimbus, and the one you want is the Complete Edition. And the best way to describe it is Ace Combat with Mecha. If that sounds like it's up your alley at all, this is the game for you, because I just gave up the ghost on what this game is. It is the banter, it is the mechanics, it is the flight system of Ace Combat, but as opposed to planes that exist in real life or have existed, you're just in sci-fi mecha, and you're still on Earth, and like with as opposed to fictionalized nations, they're real life nations, and it's like a post World War III apocalyptic thing, and you're going from battle to battle, and it's not a long game. I'm way more than halfway through it right now, and I've put maybe like 3-4 hours into it. I'm loving it. I'm really digging it. If you go to Steam and you look it up, it's sitting on a mostly positive reviews. If you look up Metacritic, it's got a 68 for some reason. I think that's a shame, because I think it's like really, really good. Oh, I will give it this. As a recommendation, I do recommend you play this game. I think it is a indie game that you should support for all $20 that it's worth. But and it's got a sequel coming out that was just announced here a couple months ago. It's called Nimbus Infinity, so good for them. The thing I would recommend is put that shit on easy mode. It's called casual mode. Put that shit on casual mode. I played it on normal mode. It's fine, but I actually don't recommend most people play it on that. And the hard mode is just called You Will Die mode, and it's not a you will die mode because the game is like, oh, you have to be an ace pilot. It's like, no, the game is just unfair at this point. So you're just like breaking the game's mechanics to kind of like manipulate your way through it. But it's good. I recommend you play it. Now, Mike, I know you want to talk about this game that you've been talking about for like 2 weeks straight. Go ahead.
I am in physical pain that there's not one person among my friends who play games who has also played this game who I can gush to about this game.
I haven't played it yet,
and
no.
it's deeply upsetting that I cannot do this. I just want you to picture the meme of that kid with the vein in his forehead. Just like just in excruciating pain, trying not to just deluge all information about this game.
Don't do it.
It is a game called Inscryption, Inscryption, from Daniel Mullins Games. The only other game I played from this he's a developer. The only other game I have played from Daniel Mullins Games is a game called Pony Island.
Oh, that developer.
Yeah. It's a game called Pony Island. And there's definitely nothing weird going on there at all. And
It's just a normal game.
Made this game called Inscryption, where you're basically playing a game like a Magic style kind of card, like Magic the Gathering style card game, where you're like putting down creatures and sacrificing them to like play cards against a disembodied set of eyes. And then there's some really spooky prop work, and as you kind of like you play cards with him and your character moves, it's kind of like a roguelike type thing. And your character, like, so you win a match and then you have a little piece who's like you kind of move along a map, like very like Slay the Spire-esque, where you're like moving towards the top, which is like where you get to an eventual boss fight, and then there's kind of a new level and you do the same thing. Except in this one, you can get up from this table where you're playing this game and look around this room that you're in, and you seemingly cannot leave. And there are other things in there, and there are other things in this game, and I truly do not want to, like, I know I have glibly said on this podcast before that I am not someone who, like, if something is spoiled for me, I don't really get too bothered, because I think if your story is told well enough, it would be entertaining even if I know what's going to happen.
I want to know that. This is where me and Mike diverge, because I vehemently disagree with that affect.
Well, you know, we can have this debate later, but
Okay.
there are things that in this game that I was very, very, very glad were not spoiled for me. Mm-hmm. Because they are such interesting and well realized and cool twists, where once the initial shock of what's happening wears off, it just kind of gets you really excited to like see what is going on here. And just the game has a lot of like really spooky kind of decor and vibes. Like, the music is really great. This game does a lot with so little sometimes. Like, just one thing that is cool, it's like, so the way the game is scored is like you do damage to each other, and you have to get a certain number of damage points ahead of your opponent to actually win the game, because it's like a scale that goes back and forth. Mm-hmm. And there's an item that's like a set of pliers, and it says, oh, this will give you a point. And if you don't put these two things together, before you use this item, because you see that the game is actually scored by like golden teeth. Like that's the individual points that are being put on the scale. And so when you use this item, your character takes the pliers and puts them into their mouth and pulls out a tooth and puts it on the scale. And like there's the sound and like, oh, it's like, oh, ooh. It's just really cool kind of like horror aesthetic like that.
Oh my gosh.
And
okay.
It's so sick. It is. Like I said, I am on my hands and knees begging people to play this game. I think it is very cool. I cannot wait to make this game. Mike's Destiny 2 presents the Mike's Game of the Year.
Mike's Game of the Year, brought to you by Destiny 2.
Sponsored by Destiny 2. The Bungie 30th anniversary pack is coming out in December. I'm gonna play that, but that's not technically a full release of an expansion. So it is a DLC, I guess, technically. So it's not a full. You still have to pay for it.
You can pay for anything in Destiny 2. You can pay for skins.
Yeah, but this is new level content.
Oh my god.
This is for Yallarhorn, Ray. It's back.
Gjallarhorn?
Yes, it's back.
What?
Join me.
I didn't know it left. Honestly,
it's back, baby. Well, it came back. It was in Destiny 1, but it's never been in Destiny 2 until now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's all Destiny 1 needs to do. They're like, we took away Hawkmoon, but now it's back. And everyone will grind to go get Hawkmoon again.
Hawkmoon's in Destiny 2, by the way, as well, if you didn't know.
No, just take it out, then like make everyone grind to go get it back. That's how you keep the loop going, and it'll work.
Fair enough. Well, so that's basically what I have what I've been playing lately.
I think all of us have played like Metroid Dread, but we want to wait for Josh to come back to talk about that.
Oh, that's right. We should wait to talk about Metroid Dread until Josh.
Because I got a lot to say about that game, and all of it's good. Just getting that out of the way.
Yeah, you guys are definitely the big Metroid guys on this podcast. Obviously, like I said before, I was caught up on Metroid, which is a bit of a dig, but because I played the most recent entry in the series, Metroid Fusion.
I hate that that's true. That actually makes me like a little angry, but it also makes Dread like that much better because it's damn near 20 years later, where you get like, hey, the part of Metroid Fusion where we left off, we're gonna pick that right back up as if you just beat Fusion, and it does, and it's good.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty good. We should not talk about it
anymore,
Josh.
We're not.
Mad.
No
more. Not a word more.
No more. All right, then we will talk about what's going on in the game industry as a whole.
Let's hit the news.
So, it's been a minute since we talked about Activision, and I don't want to just dunk on a bunch of game companies, but some of these guys have it coming. Let's go ahead and start with Activision. Then don't worry, Ubisoft, you're fucking next. You're right there in the reticle.
Lord.
Activision's, what was it? Did we mention before that their lawyer, when the SEC started investigating Activision's claims of workplace abuses, their head legal department person just quit, like, that same day? Which, they were saying, no, we're not quitting because the SEC is investigating. We're quitting because it's time to move on to a different company. And it's like, yes, that is the correct corporate response you can give here. Everyone else can read between the lines of probably what's going on. I think we mentioned before they already lost a $18 million equal opportunity employment. I guess what would you call that? Is that a
a settlement agreement?
I think it was a settlement against them from the EEOC, where they said like, "Hey, you know what? To settle for these workers, we're gonna sue you for $18 million," and immediately, almost sadly but laughably, immediately Activision said, "Yep, here you go." And there are some people like being cynical, saying, "Oh, that's just $18 million to just make it go away." It's like, no, you really should look at the fact that it's $18 million they didn't fight 1 second for. They're like, "Yep, you got us. Here, we're paying it. We don't care how it makes us look. We're just go."
Yeah, I mean, for Activision at this point, like the sooner this stuff gets out of the headlines, the better. So, especially considering that let me just take a look at the share price. Can I spell? Nope, I cannot spell.
Uh-oh. Oh no, I actually typed in Activision into the news section, and this is making the rounds right now. I didn't buy Call of Duty. I don't know when the next time I'll ever buy an Activision game or Blizzard game is going to be, because Jesus Christ, you guys got to get it together. But apparently in the new Call of Duty game, Call of Duty Vanguard, there is Activision's catching some heat because there are bloodied pages of the Quran in the game. And if you are familiar with Islamic culture, that is not okay to be just showing in a video game.
Yeah, like you think you know. Again, I think we've talked about this before, but this is the importance of having a diverse teams to make sure you don't fall on your ass like that. Just like, what are you doing?
Just
come on.
It's very small, simple things that you could just ask anybody about, or ask someone before you go. Like maybe insulting, I guess, of the religious part of the world. I think it's 1/3 of the entirety of the religious world. Ask anyone in that 1/3 segment if this is okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's the kind of stuff like this. We haven't really talked about this game, but it kind of just reminded me of it. It's like when they brought on Amazon for that MMO that they made, New World.
Yeah.
When they brought on some like sensitivity consultants to like help help them with the game, and it's like the core of this game is about like, what if colonialism was magic?
Oh no, that's right.
Like,
yeah.
It's like, what do you want us to do here? Like, just boy, howdy. You love to see it.
Oh, you're gonna make me cough. Oh no. All right, I want to shift to Ubisoft because they've been. Okay, let's go ahead and get started.
Actually, hold on. Before I want to cut you off here on
Okay.
Ubisoft. What's the name of that game? Ray, I'm gonna hit you with a headline so shocking that you are just not prepared for this. You will not be ready for this.
You won't believe your ears.
Beyond Good and Evil 2 is having development trouble.
Okay, I have a lot to say right now. A lot.
I don't.
I have
You
so.
better sit down before you stand up after you hear this one. This game that has been in development since the middle of the Iraq War.
Oh God, that's true. Why are you gonna put it like that? Oh, that's so awful.
That game is having development trouble.
Oh my gosh. Where are you getting this from? And why?
I just, to bring you pain.
Okay,
I really liked it. I really liked Beyond Good and Evil. That was a fun game.
That is a good game. Hi Felix. He's
Felix.
You guys
Felix,
can't
what do
see
you
the
think about
camera.
Beyond Good and Evil? Look at him.
It predates him. Like he's
Yeah, it's
younger.
older than Felix.
Yeah, but the first Beyond Good and Evil came out in what, like 2004 or something stupid like that? Mm-hmm. And Beyond Good and Evil 2 has When did development of that even start? Oh, Beyond Good and Evil 1 came out in 2003. Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
Oh! Oh! I was in high school then! Oof! Oh no!
I was not in high school.
Oh no!
I was like 2003. I might have still been in like elementary school.
I was 1 year into my military contract in 2003. Oh! It was so long ago. Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to go back and figure out when the first teaser for Beyond Good and Evil 2 came out.
I just looked it up. It was the first screenshot teaser.
Yeah, like the one, because it's the one where they're in the desert and the car.
That came out in 2008. Gosh, I was actually in Iraq during that time. It's coming full circle. Good.
Yeah, like
goodness.
raised in Iraq, like click, iPod with the click wheel.
It was, yeah.
I'm learning how to play the trombone or whatever bullshit I was doing in 2008.
Oh my gosh, Bush was still president.
I was, you know what I was doing in 2008? I was forgetting to put my name on a hand-drawn map of Europe I was doing for a history class. That's what I was doing in 2008.
Oh my gosh.
Good Lord.
That's so long ago.
Why did they should just cancel this game. Just do it.
I'm not
What are we
convinced
doing
the
here?
game hasn't been in the perpetual state of cancel revival.
You know what? You know what they should do? Actually, here's a better idea.
Okay.
They should just they should just release whatever they have now and call it Beyond Good and Evil 3.
That's awful. That's so
Just say, hey, we've released Beyond Good and Evil's 1, 3, and 4.
Oh my gosh.
You know, like just get 3 pigs and write Beyond Good and Evil 1, 3, and 4 on them, and set them loose in E3 or like PAX or whatever.
This is awful. I hate and love this at the same time.
I think this is a great idea.
Remember that trailer that they released at E3? When was that? Was that 2017?
Mm-hmm.
The actual full-on like CG trailer that looked like it was very well done. Like, okay, maybe we'll see this game and like on a PS4 or Xbox One. Nope, that's not happening. As a matter of fact, they were even talking about Switches that like the game could come out on the Switch. There was a whole art program where they were paying people to like, or they were gonna say like, you could do the art for Beyond Good and Evil, and we'll go ahead and.
I just like, what is, this is not that compelling of a mystery because it's probably just this place sucks to work for and nobody wants to see this thing through because it's just a giant shit show, so nobody wants to touch it. But also just like, how is this not canceled in 2011?
I see the article you're talking
whole
about.
Ass 10 years ago.
Beyond Good and Evil 2 is reportedly undergoing a development crisis. What?
It's like, well, I could have told you that.
What is your definition of dev crisis when a game that was like teased? What was it, 5 years ago? Like the teaser video was 5 years ago, and they showed some gameplay like in, I think, in 2018, 2019, and you just have no idea when it's actually coming out. Okay, I'm sorry, but. And also,
Again,
the original creator, Michael Ansel, like the original designer, he hasn't worked at Ubisoft for the past 2 years. So what is this game? Who's making it? Who's helming the ship?
We see now they're gonna have to cancel it because that Ubisoft has to go put in all the NFTs into Beyond Good and Evil.
No, I don't want to talk.
They have to put the Ape Club yachts, the yacht assholes. They gotta put those in the game.
No, please no. Okay, yeah, let's talk about
Nightmare.
Ubisoft and their bungling they've been doing for the past like couple months.
20 years?
20 yeah. The past couple decades. In a state of complete what can only be described as pure and utter corporate panic. Ubisoft is bleeding employees. We're actually in a big shift this year in 2021 professionally called the Great Resignation. It is a lot of professionals and also entry-level people are just leaving their jobs and seeking better employment in other places. This is actually making the better companies puff up and making some of the companies that have been getting away with treating their employees maybe a little bit subpar kind of suffer a little bit. You hear the phrase, nobody wants to work. Guys, that
Yeah.
is anti-proletariat talk. People do want to work, they just don't want to work and be treated like shit. There is
Yeah.
a complete
We want-
difference.
We want a tight labor market, not like this.
Not where it is definitely an employer market, right? I mean, employee market right now, where you're shopping around for the better job, and recruiters get blown the fuck out. I don't know what to say about that right now, because some recruiters are getting left on read. Recruiters are also getting not like their calls returned back. I wonder how that feels, certain recruiters out there. We've all been through
You're like,
that.
I wish they'd just send me an email to tell me that they got another job.
Yeah, me too, dude.
Tell it like
party.
Tell it like it is, Mike. Let them know. So yes, as I was saying, in the state of what could be only called corporate panic, Ubisoft is suffering this a lot. They are bleeding their high-level staff at an extreme rate, to the point where just this week, as of the recording of this podcast, it's November 14th, they announced that, okay, effective immediately, every employee that's considered senior level or above, we're giving you a 20% pay raise. Like, boom, flat. And if you're mid to entry level, you're getting a sliding scale of 5-10% pay raise. Now, that sounds good on paper if you're senior level, but if you're entry level, you're like, wait a minute, did you just make the rich richer? What the fuck was this? Why did you just do that? And this hasn't stopped the bleeding, because Ubisoft also lost at their Canadian office the executive director of the Far Cry series, like the person that has been making Far Cry games since Far Cry 3. Has
and
left
which has
Ubisoft.
been a humongous moneymaker for
Yes.
Ubisoft.
And his name is Dan Hay.
yeah.
He left, and he also left their live service Far Cry game that they were just working on, which that means he didn't take the pay raise, is a simple way to put that. This is
Yeah, I honestly might jump back to Blizzard here in a couple seconds, because I just found a few more headlines that we should cover. But
please.
but yeah, the it's like Far Cry more than like I am a sucker for Far Cry, because just that kind of basic loop of base, shoot arrows at guys, do cool stuff when it goes loud is fun.
Yes.
I'm a Far Cry 4 defender. I honestly think that game has weirdly like one of my favorite missions in a game ever.
You sent
Like-
me that video.
Yeah, like it's just like the fantasy of that game is just like you're driving a truck full of explosives on like hairpin mountain turns, like while you're like using like the Terminator shotgun, like the thing that Arnold like flips around to like shoot at like other trucks, while like this really cool like Indian techno crazy music is playing. It's just like, this is so cool.
That's very
Like
good.
it just they nail that sequence. But that is a series that desperately needs life and something new that is not wretched, which is something hard to do apparently. Alas, your friend Mike has a solution for you, Ubisoft.
Okay.
It'll only cost you 2% of the gross sales of this title when you make it and release it.
That's so much money.
And yes, but you will see, my friend.
Okay.
It is called. It is a sequel to Far Cry 2. A direct sequel to Far Cry 2.
A direct
You can
sequel.
call it Far Cry 2 2. Or
That-
Far Cry 2, the second one.
We're gonna have to workshop that name, but okay.
Well, we'll workshop the name a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's like
That's the first
they
draft.
should make another version of the Far Cry that was the most interesting Far Cry.
I'm not gonna debate and say Far Cry 2 didn't have like some really smart ideas going on, where you were like in a constant state of mercenary and you had to deal with like getting malaria and deal with weapon jams and like setting like fields on
Yeah.
fire. It's really cool.
I think they need to go back more to the Apocalypse Now, Heart of Darkness angle of Far Cry and less of the Ubisoft Assassin's Creed angle. You know what I mean? Like they need to go less Joker, more Marlon Brando doing like the thing from Apocalypse Now.
I'm sorry. Also, while we're talking about Ubisoft and things that they have done that are kind of weird, are you familiar with the game Rainbow Six Extraction?
Yes, I am.
I actually have a friend that is working on this game, and I haven't picked his brain to see how the community reception to it has been going. From my perspective of watching the community reception, it has not been great because no one knows what this. Does the Tom Clancy Rainbow Six name mean anything anymore? Well, that's a question that some people are asking. Like, Rainbow Six Siege is good. That is a very tactical, it knows what it wants to be. It came out a little rough, but they spent a couple years workshopping it and they got it right. Extraction is just the zanier, crazier, much more brightly colorful, paintball-esque version of Rainbow Six, and it has zombies in it. And again, does the Tom Clancy name mean anything anymore? Or does it not?
Ubisoft needs to get back to the roots of Tom Clancy. And
Tom
by that,
Clancy.
I mean telling you, the viewer, Jim from The Office, telling you that the most threatening thing to the United States is Venezuela with one colon,
One.
parentheses ONE, one nuclear bomb. That is the most dangerous thing in the world to America.
Yeah.
Is a South American socialist state that's just trying to mind its own business with a nuclear bomb.
With one.
With one.
A
Just
single one.
One singular one.
One singular one. How many does the United States have? More than that
Don't
one.
ask. More than.
Get your calculator out. It's gonna be a number. Get NASA on the line. It's a lot. But no, Ubisoft has quote unquote bent the knee, and when Rainbow Six Extraction does eventually release, which they're looking to push the date, it was supposed to be out by now. They decided to push the date back to January 20th, 2022. It will come out for $40 as opposed to $60. They're like, yep. This is not the product we thought it was going to be based on first impressions. We don't have enough time to change what the community hates about it. Tell you what, it's spin-off, and we're going to sell it as much. And you know what? I guess that's the right move when you're left out of options. I don't know.
Speaking of companies left without options, back
Jesus
to
Christ.
Blizzard here.
Okay.
Well, we talked about Activision, but now we got to talk about Blizzard. Diablo 4, Overwatch 2, both delayed. I honestly, I think there's...
I love the Overwatch 2 delay because it pretends like an announce date was ever announced. It wasn't.
Right, exactly. Like, what are you talking about? Who are you fooling? Not me.
Overwatch 2 delayed. When were you coming out?
I'm on the ball here, folks.
You could have literally said it's now coming out in 2023. Okay, you never said when it was coming out to begin with.
Blizzard is like, look, we're gonna jangle these keys at you, little baby, and I'm like, I'm not fooled by this. Nice try.
Did they ever give a release date for Diablo 4? I don't think.
No, but they did change McCree, which is probably good because McCree was named after a guy who was a sexual harasser at that company.
Yes, yeah. So there's a lot of people on like the standard Twitter sphere saying like, oh, but changing the name of McCree is so lame. He'll always be McCree to me. And it's like, guys, of all the things Blizzard has done in the past 2 years, all of which have been pretty bad. Like, don't think I forgot. Any of us forgot about the Hearthstone thing where they took away that player's winnings because he said, what was it, free Hong Kong or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't think I forgot about that shit.
China number one.
Blitzchung. No, China number one. Oh, God. Oh, no. But, like, changing the name of McCree to whatever his name is now, I don't even care. Like,
It's like, if that is something you're upset about, I need you to understand that in some parts of the world, it's going to be hard to near impossible to grow food in like 40 years.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't want to be a downer. You just have much bigger things you should spend your time worrying about. If you're going to worry about something, at least worry about something, worth getting depression over. Okay.
Yeah. Worry about climate change. That's a thing that's worth worrying about. Don't worry about like we changed the name of a character of a game that, let's be honest, you stopped playing.
For babies. Like shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the other thing. Like, I know sometimes Destiny. I am the Destiny defender, obviously. So great assault, but they get. I think they get a lot of gruff for not like the frequency of their updates and big content drops. But I would rather, because right now Overwatch, basically the original Overwatch, has not been touched in any significant way since they announced Overwatch 2. And it just has led to this total dry spell. So I appreciate that Bungie has done a pretty good job of like knowing that like, okay, we need to invest in like we need to like focus on Destiny 2 as our core thing and just keep going from there. And that to make like a Destiny 3 would be would just, in terms of the resources that would draw, I mean, you would essentially just have to put Destiny 2 on like absolute minimal life support to even begin to possibly facilitate that. And so I appreciate that they maybe didn't. I think there may have been plans when they were still with Activision to do like Destiny 3.
Oh gosh.
I think that's kind of what Beyond Light was on track to be until they went independent and whatever and shifted a lot of plans. I think that's why Beyond Light had a lot of engine updates that they then, because they sunset locations so they can, because they weren't on the new engine, yada yada yada. Like there's a whole thing, but it just kind of shows like there's a lot of different ways to try to build a game that people play forever, quote unquote, essentially. And that's a hard problem. So I best of luck to those developers, but they are in a not super fun position. Especially because, as I referenced earlier, and we've talked about on this podcast previously, Blizzard and Activision had a serious harassment culture. That's the easiest way to describe it. Don't SJW at me. That is an accurate assessment of what that place was like to work at. So,
yeah.
And after all of this, all of these things have transpired. Jen O'Neill, who is the co-leader of Blizzard, leaves the company.
Yeah, who's running that ship now?
Mike Ybarra.
Oh, okay. I actually know that name.
And I don't know Mike personally.
No.
No shit. I don't know why I said that. I'm just a guy who plays games from wherever I am. But just after all of this, and not that like to not. I don't want to boil it down to like this would be good if a woman had this job and everything would be all like dandy. Like these things are much more complicated than that, obviously. Like just because, but like after all of this, like it's just such a like kick in the nuts. Like it's a real mole man gets football thrown at his groin kind of thing. And just you're telling me that like after all of this, like the highest rank, like one of the highest ranking women at this company, like resigns and leaves. Like you guys let this happen?
Well,
just incredible.
There's been mass resignations at Blizzard going on for like a couple months now. And not to mention that also the firings. Like the CEO of the company got fired over the summer. So it's just been like musical chairs at the top level, which, honestly good. Because the only way that company is ever going to change is they have to change out people from the very top. And I'm not saying that she did, because I don't know. I don't know what that like entire federal report the state report of California going against them actually says. But she was at the top too. She probably was aware of some of the bad things that was happening. Maybe she could have like better led the charge against it, but she's just as guilty. As far as I'm concerned, everyone at the top level is just as guilty for letting things happen. Because you have to be. Like the buck has to stop somewhere, and it stops at top level.
Yeah.
And yes, it does suck that one of the main female representatives of the company will not be there to represent it, but maybe she left because I don't know, I didn't read the like resignation letter of why she left. Oh wait, she wrote a blog post. Maybe I should read that.
Yeah, maybe we should read that. And again, I personally haven't read that statement, so maybe this is something I'm assuming, I certainly respect her decision. But just
okay, credit to her. She does take some of the blame. And as part of taking some of the blame, she's helping to make a $1 million grant donation to the Women's in Game International nonprofit organization where she is a board member. So, you know what? Good on her. I don't know. I can't ask for much more than that. If you're
it's just like the whole thing is just crazy. And again, like I think we've kind of referenced before, it's like all of these things are I think, Unscripted Politics is not a podcast that we have.
No.
But I think it's pretty clear to connect. I think it's a pretty clear connection from a harassment type workplace where people can't really address it because of too many important things that are connected to their ability to produce wealth for people that are not them. Like it's hard to change the culture of harassment when everybody is scared to do anything about it because it means they might lose their health care.
Yeah.
And
jeez, yeah.
If only there was some other sort of way that we could organize work and our relations to each other within a society to maybe produce better results with this.
If only
I don't know what those
way.
are, but I mean, there's got to be a better way.
You mentioned this. There was a game company that actually did unionize here recently. I forget what the name of it was. I remember sharing it in chat with you guys. Was it? No. Tell you what, I'm going to look in our chat and see which one it was, because I know I messaged us. I messaged you and Josh about it here recently, saying like, "Oh, that's really interesting." Oh my gosh, I shared so much Metroid stuff in this chat. What am I doing? Oh yeah, and this is out of nowhere. Speaking of game companies fucking up, the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X version of CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077 got delayed into middle of 2022. I know that probably means like nothing for nothing, but yeah, they're having some really big issues with that game. Almost a year later.
Really? Wow.
It is a good game. I do recommend people play it, but yeah, maybe wait until they hammer out as many bugs as they can almost a year later. Damn, I can't find the actual thing where we were talking about the game company that unionized. Alright, well, there was some game company recently that had unionized,
I mean,
and
and
was
it's
kind of cool.
Yeah, it's very cool, and I think if you have not been paying attention, there is a significant wave of labor action occurring in our country that is pretty cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
People are remembering that when together they have power, and it's cool. And I imagine it is only a matter of time before we see this really start to bellow up in all sorts of industries. So we live, may you live in interesting times. Well, guess what, bitch? We live in them now.
Oh,
so
I found it. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Coming back. The game company, the tabletop role-playing publisher Paizo, has recognized...
Yeah, the Pathfinder guys.
Yes,
13,
Pathfinder
yes.
and Starfinder. They have organized under the Collective Workers Union as of October 14th. And they have a game union going on, so...
And I believe that was we asked to be recognized, and then that recognition was granted.
Yeah.
So that is pretty cool to see, too.
There it is, people. It can be done.
Love to see it.
If your company is being a dick, band together and remind the company you are nothing without your workers.
Exactly.
Literally nothing without your workers. Why do you think Amazon is afraid of a union? Ask yourself, everyone that's anti-union listening to this podcast, yeah, all you weirdos, that's right, I'm calling you out. Why is it big companies spend so much money, like giant trillion-dollar companies spend so much money fighting unions if they're not that effective? Why are they so afraid of them? Huh? Just sleep on that.
Yeah.
Go
it's
snack
like,
on that for a
exactly.
little bit.
And it's like, well, hey, this job is already good. Like, why do they need a union? It's like, well, maybe they want to, keep it good.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to kind of, again, you like, at the end of the day, your employer is not your friend, and if they find terms to do so, they will get rid of you.
Oh.
And if you can build a means of protection against that with your fellow workers, that is pretty righteous. So
I do want to say for you physical game players, card game players, the people that make Cards Against Humanity, the workers actually formed a union in that workshop. So there you go. You have places
again,
to support.
that is also a good idea, because I believe Cards Against Humanity also had some issues with harassment culture. And
you don't say. That game had issues with sexual harassment? Huh.
They sure did.
Go figure.
And it's cool that those workers, maybe took the next step, because again, there's, you can politely ask your management to implement changes to create a better culture, or you can make them do it. So
Mike's been reading some interesting books lately.
that's right.
Interesting.
We should talk about our book club more sometimes.
Yes.
We have a great book club. It's been a hoot. I still have the dubious title for picking the worst book. If anybody wanted to know.
It was it was the only book I could not finish.
Let's just say I thought it was interesting. But it was just a little bit more academic than I kind of was expecting.
It was a bit more textbook than many people were suspecting.
Let's just say, like, it was either that or the history of, oh my god, it was either that or a biography of, or about A Tribe Called Quest. In hindsight, I deeply regret not picking the book about A Tribe Called Quest.
I don't know what that is about, but that sounds phenomenally more interesting than what we ended up reading.
It's a classic rap group, and it would have been pretty sick.
Okay, that would have been all right.
Yeah.
Because learning about how buildings are built on the British Isles in the driest format ever,
It was true.
it was rough.
Oh.
That was a rough read.
That was a rough read. I read, I was a philosophy major, so you know I've read some boring books. But damn, that might have been up there.
That's in the
I agreed with all the author's conclusions and arguments, but, damn, that was dry.
For a perspective of like we should strive to when you have limited space because you're literally on a damn island, we should strive to build like good communal homes that people will want to return to. It's like, yes, that is a good idea. Maybe I don't need to read 400 pages about it though. That's
Lord. I don't even think we've had a book close that could be considered for like maybe not worst book, but the one that would have got the most thumbs down from the group. I don't even think there's another contender.
Nah,
I'm trying to think.
Most of the books we've read are pretty decent to solid.
Like,
I will say, I liked it at first, but man, it stumbled over this finish line. Ibram X. Kendi stamped from the beginning. I was like, man, the first two like big fat sections were like, yeah, I'm picking up what you're throwing down, all right. And then like, man, those last two, there's stumble over the finish line, and then there's like you trip and blow out your kneecap.
I feel like that book, it took Howard Zinn's A People's History of the United States, and then removed the class component entirely from A History of the United States and just made it about race, which is now these are sticky subjects, obviously. And I'm not saying that race is not an essential component to understanding the history of our violent and evil country. But I think you need to have a class component there too to really get the full fabric of how we got to where we are. And I think that also, if you don't have that class component, your prescription will be incorrect as far as how you begin to fix some of these things.
I don't want to, on the podcast, bring up Ibram X. Kendi's prescription for how to fix it. All I will say is it might have been one of the worst ideas I think I've ever read.
It's just like, I don't really get, it's, yeah. Hey, you should give us a good review where you can find your podcast. We have a Facebook page, Unscripted Gaming. I think our Twitter is unscript_gaming. Hey, you should send us a question there if you listen to our show. Maybe we'll answer it. Maybe we won't. Now, if you never send us that, you'll never know what might happen.
I would love to answer the question.
If you send us a question, you will have the exciting opportunity for your question to be ignored by me if I think it sucks. But if you send a good one, we might answer it or discuss it if we don't forget about it. Sorry we talked about our book club.
I'm not. Hey,
my name is Mike.
My name is Ray.
We'll see you next time. Peace.